every single person has a personal brand. If you have a social media account and you're not a business owner or influencer, you still have a personal brand because you're posting about your personal interests, about your family, about your work. Like it is all online, and it's how you interact online. Like we all have those people that like post on Instagram and Facebook and you're like, what are you doing? Like, right? Like that's giving you a persona that maybe you do or do not want. And so being very clear with when you create content or make posts, like how is someone else viewing you, not only from a professional standpoint, but like everyday people. And then depending on your career, like I think we were kind of talking about graphic design, like if you have a graphic design page for fun and you're kind of trying to apply for jobs, I don't think it's a bad idea to share that with where you're going, because maybe it's not necessarily their direction, but it is essentially a portfolio.
Welcome to the Bullpen Podcast hosted by Torian Consulting. I'm Sonia Pedowick.
I'm Bobby Watkins.
I'm Misty Rodriguez.
Each week we'll be bringing you different episodes about fintech and talent.
It's going to be exciting to be able to talk about these topics in depth, to be able to bring you guests, to be able to dive into topics on recruiting, mental health, the job market, new technologies, and of course, everything happening in our beloved city of Las Vegas.
Do you want a job or not?
Let's grab the bull by the horns.
Welcome back to the Bullpen Podcast hosted by TCG. Today we have guest Kassidy with Kassidy Lynne Social, and you have my sidekick over here, Bobby. Sonia's out sick, but here we go. Let's grab the bull by the horns.
So today we're going to be talking all things social with the social expert over here, Miss Kassidy. So first you just want to know, like, hey, how'd you start the business? Why'd you start the business?
Well, I'm so excited to be here, so thank you for having me. I kind of stumbled upon social media, and I was originally had a fitness career, and I was phasing out of the fitness career during COVID. I just was very burnt out, and so I had been offered a position at a PR agency to start up their social media management side of their company. Before then, I was a blogger, kind of influencing / blogging, and so they were like, well, you have enough, social media experience, you can figure it out. And so I was kind of thrown into it, which was really good because then I got to experiment a lot and figure out what I liked and what I didn't like. And then when that job kind of dissolved, my parents actually own a supplement company. And so they were like, well, why don't you just run our social media and try to see if you can use it as a, jumping point to get more clients. And so that's exactly what I did as I started to kind of revamp their socials, build credibility for myself that were not clients associated with the other company I'd worked for. And then by the end of that fall, I had 3 or 4 clients locally that I was managing for. And then it kind of just built on top of that. And I was like, oh, I guess I have a business. And so I should advertise myself as a business. But it's really fun now that I've had that longevity of building it, because now I've had experiences with different clients and different just avenues of social media.
Absolutely.
And then now branching into different types of marketing. And I think that's like the biggest thing I'm passionate about working with business owners is they think marketing is one person can do it all. And it's so many different levels to it of just like email, graphics. I mean, even this podcast, right, is marketing. So it's so much more. And to really only focus on social to the businesses and the owners that it's relevant for, it is super fun, because social media can be fun. It's often put in the negative limelight, but it definitely can be fun if you let it.
Absolutely. So does your company do all the aspects of the marketing?
Yeah. So right now we focus exclusively social media, and then we also do blog and email marketing.
Gotcha.
But we really like to focus on our social clients. And then as they build, so for instance, the supplement company is now in a place where they're wanting to put out longer form content of blogs. So we're able to take a blog and repurpose that for 5 or 6 social media posts. So it can blend very well together, but you have to be able to have the team and the content to create that content, right? And you don't want to just focus on all of the things at once. You want to really focus on one part of the marketing and then grow it upon that.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned like social media, that it can be the like good, bad, and ugly kind of, I guess, in a rough term.
Yeah.
can you like expand on that, like the good of it instead of, because everybody, you know, we all know what doom scrolling is. We all
Yes.
know what it does to you, your brain, and all of a sudden
Yes.
anxiety kicks in, right? You're like,
Why am I doing?
yeah, just explain to us like some of the good that comes out of
Yeah.
it.
Well, on top of the doom scrolling, you also have specifically, I would say more for influencers and brands, the cancellation culture, right? Which is a huge thing of these brands being
Yes.
canceled over, you know,
Yeah.
certain marketing efforts, or with influencers, certain things they just say that doesn't land right with their audience. So it can have a negative undertone, especially if you've been burned, if it was your business, or I mean, a lot is on the line when you're posting for the whole world to see. But I think that it also can have a really positive impact depending on how you're marketing yourself, how you're spreading awareness as to what you're doing. So I always share my personal story of when I was blogging and I was in more of like the influencer role before I was in the marketing side. I had gone through, the reason I started my blog was because my brother had passed away and I was 21, 22 at the time. And at that age, not many people have experience with grief, right? That's just something that a lot of people shy away from the conversation. And so I had started my blog to share about what I was experiencing. And through that, at the time I was living in Florida, I actually met a couple friends who had experienced either the cancer my brother had battled with or had lost a sibling. And if it wasn't for me sharing my story online, I wouldn't have made those connections because I didn't know where to go or how to find them, right? So in that sense, obviously I had to be vulnerable and like share something that maybe not everyone would. But now, I mean, that was years ago. Now you could probably go and look under hashtags or find an influencer that has experienced those. And then you're already wrapped in the community, right? So from a business perspective, depending on what your business is and what problem you're solving within your business, you're already building a community out to share their stories and connect them. And so that's why you'll see a lot of business owners or smaller brands will create like Facebook community groups or events. I mean, run clubs are huge right now, right? Because they're taking that community they built online and bringing it in person. So that's something I love about social media is like, how can you solve a problem and then beyond that build a community outside of online? Because like you mentioned, like no one wants to sit here and doom scroll all day. No one's that's just kind of fading out, right?
Thankfully.
But yes, thankfully. But we can build communities off that touch point because everybody's on it. And we're not so foreign to just phone numbers, let me call you, let me email you, right? Like the community is already there and then it's taking it to the next level of getting it offline. And I mean, there's just so many positive things that come through social media. We were just talking before this about a fun fact that you learned, right? Like fun facts, positivity quotes. And the thing with these algorithms is you can create your algorithm, right? Like, I mean, people hear it all the time. They're like, oh, just talked about that. And now there's a TikTok on my phone about it. So if you're searching specific things, if you're searching for specific inspiring people or people to learn from, you can curate your feed to be a very positive, encouraging place. I think oftentimes the doom scrolling is where it gets to that messy part of like, oh gosh, now I don't want to be seeing these things.
Yeah.
But that goes with like having limits and all of those things around social media.
That's awesome.
I like that.
You said you're able to create your own algorithm. Is that difficult, easy? Like what?
I mean, it depends on which algorithm we're talking about. TikTok is definitely an easier one. Like I know there's certain times where I'll be researching things for clients and all of a sudden my feed is entirely that. I know a couple weeks ago I was working with a client who focuses on educators and my whole feed was like teacher TikTok and I'm like, I'm not a teacher. So
bring it down a notch, please.
It can easily, TikTok is one of those where like if you get obsessed with something, suddenly your whole feed is that. Instagram's a little bit more different, right? Because it's just less of that and more sometimes things you don't even want to see. But it depends. You have to really focus on how you're using it. So for me, like obviously it's my business. So I research a lot on either my personal page or if I'm logged into a client's page. So then I'll start receiving a lot of that. And that's kind of where the algorithm goes. And even, I mean, I'm logged into clients' accounts. So for instance, I have a client account and she's an Etsy shop. So we're using a lot of Etsy hashtags. We're tagging Etsy. If I scroll through her feed, it's 99% Etsy creators. The algorithm has picked up. That's what we're trying to advertise. So it's trying to connect us with other Etsy-based businesses or relevant to Etsy. So that's kind of how the algorithm of the feed works. But someone more sciencey could probably explain the computer side of it. I'm really just like the outside social person, but yeah, it's complicated for sure.
That's going to be on our next podcast. No.
Yeah.
Fine. We'll get it all
You can
together.
maybe someone from Meta, like
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
boy. I
Call in
have
a favor.
questions.
yeah. Oh, I'd have
LinkedIn,
questions too.
I have
I think we
questions.
could have a line out here.
Just have them all come in one
Yeah.
at a time. Please ask
What's your
question.
questions?
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Be out the door.
Yeah. So how important is it today to have like an online brand, like a social media presence? And
Yeah, I love that question. I think it is extremely important. I think it also depends on the type of business that you have. I always share the story of I tried to work with an insurance agent and he was like completely against social media. He was like, I just want you to post some graphics, whatever. And I like told him from the beginning, I'm like, okay, like I will do this
My
job, but you have zero expectations of what business is coming in, right? Like in today's age, you have to be different. And 99% of the time, you're going to need a face of your brand and someone's going to have to be talking. It's not about the brand anymore unless you're Nike and you're massive. And even then, right, like they have influencers and people that are associated with Nike. Well, I would say to answer your question, it's more important to have a personal brand that is associated with the business. And I was just talking about this on my podcast with a business owner because she was in retail business. And I was said, if someone wanted to start their own clothing boutique, what advice would you give them? And she said, well, it's funny because when I started my business 13 years ago, I would have said, get the financing, go find where you want to build the store, you know, all those things. She's like, now I would say, if you don't have an influence, if you don't have a personal brand on social media and build the audience first, no one's going to come. You're going to have such a difficult time building that business. So it's leveraging the audience really before the business, if you have the opportunity to do that. So building an online presence and an online brand is so important because it builds credibility, just like years ago when websites did. Now it's websites and social media. If I go to your social media and nothing's been posted since, 2019, and I'm looking to hire you in 2025, I'm kind of like, okay, well, are you still relevant? Like, are things...
You have people.
Yeah. And even to like your average, let's use a bakery as an example, like I want to go on your page and look at the food. Like how many times do you use Yelp? Do you use Instagram to go search a restaurant? Like all of those things, if you're not online and if you're not actually, taking the step to build your brand online, you're really missing that. And you're relying on either people to just come into your place of business or, which is a whole other subject, like influencers and other people who are doing that for you. Yeah. And so I think the businesses that I see thriving and doing so well have not only just built a brand, they've built a personal connection to their audience that's also related to the business.
Gotcha.
I never thought of it that way. I mean, because like LinkedIn, I'm going to use LinkedIn because, that's all that's don't get me wrong. I've got Instagram and like Facebook, but I don't use them for my business. I keep them my personal, but like I've noticed with, will drop off because LinkedIn has shifted how their whole, everything, the algorithm all the way down to like whatever the science is, right? Yeah. Like I'm not a data scientist, so I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to pretend. Y'all are out there. I need one. No,
we need you to tell us the full algorithm, how to have
you
success.
See this video? I need you. But it's like, if you don't post, if you are not loud, I think is the word I'm looking for, right? Like if you're not, you don't get noticed as much. I mean, sure, some of the quiet ones, because let's say they're typing in, I just need this keyword of a person, and they'll scroll through the, on the backside, like LinkedIn Recruiter. But if you're not out there and you're not posting and you're not you're just kind of like fading away. It's almost,
and some people don't want to be loud, right? Like they don't want to schedule in their time 5 times a day, post on LinkedIn, what I'm doing right now. Like some people just don't want to do that. And actually I'm one of those people. I'm like the worst with my social media, and I am a social media manager, but that's because I'm managing everybody else. Yes.
Yeah.
Like
we don't have time for that.
It does take so much effort. And especially I feel like on a platform like LinkedIn, like you're trying to be professional. You're trying to make sure those keywords, you're trying to like make sure that you're reaching this specific group, specific person, actually, what you guys do. So it's like, that's an added chore on your list to have to sit there and curate that content.
Absolutely.
As we shake our heads.
Yeah. You're like, I have to go do that after this. I'm going to post on
I
LinkedIn.
did 2 today. I feel like that's more than
Nice.
the first one was
Yes.
boring, just flat out like, this is what I'm telling you.
Yep.
This one has color in it. It's like, a
little
little
bit of
rocket
both.
ship. Yeah. That counts.
A little rocket ship
Little
emoji.
rocket ship, it counts, right? And if you see it, please like it.
Yeah.
No.
So
Please
We
like
will
and
link that
follow.
below. Go ahead, give that a like.
it's interesting. So for those menial tasks, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Boring?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, it is a task.
Bit boring.
How can we leverage AI, since that's such a hot topic now,
Yep.
to do that stuff for us? Or is it good, bad? Or
Yeah. So when AI first came out, I was very against it because I just like, there's a whole other topic about using our brains I think is important. But I also
Part two.
think, part two.
But you-
I also think that there was a time when everyone's marketing sounded the same when AI came out, right? And it was like, here's my business. I need a flyer for this. And then I think it was actually Sonia maybe that said it in Catalyst at one point. She was like, yeah, I received 2 flyers from different businesses. They were almost identical because the whatever AI program they used spit out the same thing. So if it's generic, but at the end of the day, all of us as business owners, we want our own tone. We want to be different than our competitors.
Your own flavor.
If AI is giving us the same thing, we can't be different. So I tread lightly with AI. I use it in my businesses for certain things, specifically like longer form blog post topics, or even just a lot of times what I'll use it for actually is if I have a concept for a caption in my head, but I'm not really sure how I want to use it, I will
yes.
type that idea
Beautiful.
into AI. So like I mentioned, one of my big clients is an educator-based conference. I was never a teacher, right? So a lot of that is like me Googling, trying to figure out what do teachers care about? And it's a very hot topic right now. So I will use AI and kind of take stuff from their website, take my initial idea, let's say it was, celebrating educators, and it will spit out ideas for me and I'll refine it. And then I'll take it and kind of rewrite it both for the tone of their business and just like make it more
Yeah.
human. I think my biggest concern is that it takes away the human aspect, and businesses and business owners need that human connection. Like at the end of the day, we're all humans and we're trying to communicate and sell to another human. And if it's too formulated, if it's too programmed, that gets lost. And now people don't want to do business with you because they're like, oh my gosh, this feels stiff. So I definitely use it for ideas, like especially on days where you're like, I'm tapped out. Like, how do I write this LinkedIn post? It's 4:59. Like I'm clocking out. At that point, I would say, maybe create on the days you're creative, make a list of content ideas that let's say you would want to write for a LinkedIn post. And that way you could easily take one of those ideas, throw it into AI and curate it and make it sound like yourself. Another thing that I had learned from an AI person is after you, let's say it does write the whole caption for you. We have those days where like, I'm not doing this, like you can do it. If you put in there and you ask it this at the end when it's all written and you say, I think it's like, write this in a human form at a 10th grade level, it supposedly makes it much easier and much more of a natural conversation. Now, I've only tried it a couple times and I still edited it because I'm just like a little bit psycho about that stuff. And I'm speaking in tones for other people, right? Like that's my job is like I need to learn their business and learn how to speak in that language. So I still change it, but it does make it more casual, I would say.
I like that because I never thought about, I'll say layman's term, explain this in layman's terms, right? For people that don't understand, like we were talking about, we don't know the science behind it because we're not those people. But if I'm looking for that, explain it to me. Because there are times I'm like, hey, Chat GPT, I did say that.
And here's another tip for you. I know you said you mostly focus on LinkedIn, but something that I do, I have a couple clients where we put content on LinkedIn and we also put it on Instagram. But the audience on those two platforms are a little different, right?
Absolutely.
LinkedIn,
totally.
you get those more buttoned up professionals, whereas Instagram, it can be a little bit more casual. I actually ask it sometimes, like I'll write the initial caption for Instagram and I'll put it in there and say, hey, make this more of a tone for LinkedIn. So it changes some words. It might change how it's being said. And it is able to interpret that platform is a different tone than Instagram.
I like that.
So mess around with it.
I'm going to use the 10th grade.
I
level.
need to take a whole
Please forgive me.
class.
I know it's a little bit discouraging that they were like 10th grade level, but it's fine.
But it
We'll
might
get past that.
actually, but who's really,
Yeah.
they're not gonna
And
know.
I mean, it's also about the
Right.
audience, like who who is looking for it, what they're using. And then that's where keywords come back to. Like you obviously want to make sure it's still used your keywords or whatever you're trying to talk
I
about.
like that.
I need to take a class on prompts and how to talk to AI.
AI is
It's a
gets
whole,
deep.
it's a whole beast. But I mean, like we learned, what was it not last week, the week before, that there's good AI and there's bad AI. You just got to learn to know how to say it. I think, right? Like it's just how to say certain things, and you can ask it
the
100
prompts
times
I feel
over.
like are
It may
most
cost you more, but
important. You're gonna run out of
Only get
characters.
right.
after a while, you might be questioning what you're doing.
Yes.
But
Oh my
it is
gosh.
fun.
No, you could play with it all day for sure.
Yeah, I do that. Well, I mean, to be honest, I do use ChatGPT for like, I'll say this is for LinkedIn, keep it, but it will spit out a rocket ship every now and again. I'm like, I'm going to use it.
Hey,
It's a rocket ship.
see how it performs.
Yeah.
More likes
I
for
know
the rocket
sometimes
ship.
they're like, she okay? I am.
Well,
Yeah,
that's a good
rocket
point
ships.
too, is like making sure that the AI is speaking in your tone and your
Yeah.
language, and there's
Well,
not a
that's-
big difference between the one you actually wrote and the one you were like, I have 5 minutes at the end of my day, let me put this in AI. Because
Sound
it
like
can
me.
feel different. Yeah. But the more I've heard, the more you talk to it, the more it
It
understands.
starts to, comprehend
Yeah.
your style, your,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like your brand, how you are.
What a world we
So,
live in. That's like actually
Yeah.
scary when you think about it.
I'm gonna feed
But
it
man, has it
10
made it
emails.
easier. I'm telling you, like, you just got to tweak it, make sure you check it. But that's a whole other podcast. So
AI and emails.
corrections for AI next time on AI. No.
Yes.
So on that, like, what are some fun ways that people can make themselves attractive
Yeah.
online?
That's a
For
good question.
employers or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I would say authenticity is huge. Looking at who you are as a brand. I think it goes back to like establishing, if you're a small business owner, making sure you have a really strong foundation on your branding, on who you are and what you're about. I think when you look at successful social media pages, it's very consistent, and it's also consistent once you meet that business owner in person, right? So if you're, for instance, my business, we are very quote unquote trending because we're social media people. So I always like to be fun and bubbly. Yes. And like make it very lighthearted, but also trendy. And like I want my clients, when they are having a call with me, to feel that same way. So I'm big on making sure that the feelings match up. But if you don't know how you want your customers or clients to experience your business, there's going to be a gap there. And so there's some foundational work that I think is really where you need to start with it. You need to figure out, okay, who are we as a business? What are we trying to solve for our client or customer? And then what is the tone, right? Like, I mean, if you look at coffee shops, there's fun, bubbly coffee shops. There's like Halloween gothic coffee shops, right? They're
True.
serving different people. They both serve coffee, but at the end of the day, their audience is very different. And if then suddenly one day the Halloween shop was bubbly, it's like, okay, it's not serving that ideal audience anymore. So when you're online, don't be afraid to like be yourself and show up
Yeah,
with
I like that.
who you truly are and what you want your business to be. And especially as a business owner, like that should be an even flow. It shouldn't be, okay, we're going to post this one day and now this and everything's changing. Again, it goes back to values. It goes back to authenticity.
So that brings me back to like social media as a whole, right? Like those influencers that build their brand on one solid thing. And then all of a sudden they change, or they like, for instance, the keto crowd, right? No offense to you guys, but they build their pages on these recipes and I'm showing you how to do this and I utilize whatever this is over here to make this blah, 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 right? And then all of a sudden they realize somewhere down the road, the diet is no longer sustainable.
Yeah.
And they're like, let me show you my plants. And all of a sudden, like the drop off is crazy. All of a sudden they're no longer,
Because they were solving the keto question
yes.
of
then
like,
now it's
does
like-
it work and how do I sustain this lifestyle?
Yeah. And it's crazy because I've watched some of them and I'm like, ooh, that's
Yeah.
painful.
No, it is.
It's
And
like-
I think it's fine to change, right? Like changing
Absolutely.
is great, but those influencers would have to know that it would come with a cost, right? Because if
Yeah.
I'm following you for the keto questions or recipes, and now you're only talking about plants, it might not fit. It might not. So you have to be willing to take risks, but you're then kind of going into the conversation between niching down or not, right? And I get that a lot of like, I can't niche down, or I like too many things, or I only focus on this one thing. And I struggle with the niching down conversation because I've had influencers I've worked with that have been experts on like 3 different topics and they've performed fine. And I've had people where it's like when we niche down and we focused on one specific topic, they blew up and they did great. I think you need to go back to the question of like, what question are you answering or problem are you solving? Yeah. If your niche is a couple different things to solve that problem, then great. But at the end of the day, you do have to solve something. You can't just be out here talking about everything.
Yeah.
With the exception of, just the average influencer that just shows their life, right? Like I would say mommy style influencers, that's a wide niche because you have these women who are talking about being moms, or talking about potentially being business owners. Now they're sharing their hair. Now this is what I ate for a whole day. Like they're a little able to do everything, but it's because it's trending right now. It's a thing. Like business owners are different because you can't possibly sell everything.
Right.
Like that's just not possible.
Yeah.
What is the one that's trending right now? It's my normal 8 to 5, but here's my 5 to 9 o'clock. And they just show that they're just making dinner, picking up their kids. It's like this whole thing. And you go all of a sudden, you're like, oh yeah, I do that too. Like and I'm watching it and I'm like, really?
It's like years ago when magazines were the biggest thing and they would take pictures of like a celebrity taking their trash out and they'd be, oh my gosh, me too. Like I take my trash out. That's what it reminds me of. I'm like,
I never thought of it.
Of course you take yours out.
Like, yeah. But I'm watching you do it.
Yeah,
it's like
so much more interesting.
That's funny.
You gotta check him out, Bobby.
Yeah.
I'm staying away. I'm not doing.
He's gonna record his own.
All of a sudden, it'll come across my feed. I'll be like,
I threw my phone on the floor and tried to mute it. Like I don't want it to hear nothing that we're talking about right now.
delete.
So
That's
when you
funny.
meet with business owners, the rebranding and the niching down.
It's a new word.
I'm working on my pronunciation, but
1, 2.
is that more often than not that you have to help them do that, or have you like walked into like a great? You're like, oh, this is easy.
In the beginning, yes, it was pretty much everybody because I'd be like, okay, like send me your assets, right? Like your logo, your colors. They're like, okay, like no idea what those are, but I will think about it. I'm like, no, like I can't do my job. I mean, a good portion of my job is the content creation, right? And if I'm making a graphic for your company and you don't know your color or your font or like, how am I supposed to create that? So smaller business owners, yes. And I'm made a huge shift to increase my pricing to be able to work with the business owners who have established those things because it's a very defined line and like love for this. I have all the love for the small business owners, but it's very difficult to do my job well if I'm trying to navigate like building a whole brand because you don't know what you want. You just know the idea for the business. And I've had some of my favorite clients that I work with are the business owners that already almost have a little bit of an established team. I have a couple clients who have in-house graphic designers. They have a marketing team, but they don't necessarily want to have a full-time social media person. So they hire us to run just the social media division. But I'm getting the editorial calendar, if you will, like the overarching what we're advertising and all of that from the head of the marketing department. And it's very helpful because I'm able to focus on my job, but they know who they are and they know, they're having all those executive level conversations and just telling me, okay, these are the assets we need. What's going on social media, tell us what the pulse is. And it makes it so much easier to do my job because I'm used to working with business owners who are like, well, we might advertise this next week, but I kind of want to do this promotion. And you're like, okay, no, like we need a schedule here in order to create assets and plan and all of those things. So we try to work with business owners who have those foundations and like, as a plug for Sonia, went through Incubator Catalyst.
There you go. So when you say assets, what do you mean by assets?
Your branding, your colors, in the case of a personal brand, right? Like Maybe you did a branding photo shoot. Maybe you've created video, or you're willing to sit in front of the camera and create video. Because a lot of the times, especially if I'm working with a personal brand, like I can't create that content for you. I can edit it.
Yeah.
Here's the video, put captions, whatever. But I can't sit in front of the camera and be like, okay, people are gonna be like, who's this girl? So I need you to be willing to show up. And then also the assets. A hot topic in my industry is that people get confused and they actually probably think I'm AI and I know everything, because they'll be like, well, why don't you know everything that's in my course and can write an Instagram post about it? I'm like, because I didn't create it. I'm not the expert. So I always tell people, I'm like, we are collaborating with you. We are coming alongside you to work in your business with you, but we are not the experts. So we can come up with a concept, and at the end of the day, everything could be wrong if you don't come alongside us and tell us what is right and what's wrong, down to the tone. And honestly, the factual information. I've worked with a couple wellness companies. I mean, everyone's a wellness expert on social media. So like,
I'm sorry.
No, it's true.
We were just laughing about
this
earlier.
like one thing is good, and then you go to a next post and it's the worst thing you could do in your whole life. So it's like,
so confusing.
For your brand, you need to be able to decide what's right. And if you're just letting a social media person decide and Google and you'd be like, hey, how many steps should I get a day? And then write that, then it looks bad on you. As the owner, as the expert, you need to come in and fill in those blanks for social media people. So, I mean, some of the most successful clients that I've worked with have really come alongside me and allowed me to build out the concepts and edit things. And they're in there writing the captions, and they're in there doing the copy, or really fulfilling their tone and their voice and how they want things to go.
Yeah.
The clients who remove themselves and they're like, okay, well, social's done, someone's taking care of it. We don't have as much success, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's not my business. I'm not going to be as passionate about it as you are. It's your baby, right?
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Really, though, I mean, because like in recruiting, I've literally, for clients, found not the social media aspect, but when you're trying to explain to them a graphic designer is not a social media person, and they're like, but no, we want it all together. And I'm like, they're, like different people.
I always
and
tell
like
people, I'm like,
and it's like,
they'll expect the world. And that goes back to the beginning of the conversation of like, marketing is so many different roles.
Yeah.
And if you looked at a bigger company, like let's say Nike, their graphic designers are only doing graphics and only for specific projects, right? Their graphic designer is not running their social media.
Yeah.
Like these, obviously I get it. It takes more money. It takes more time and effort. But to expect one person to do all of these different tasks, and it's something I had to learn in my business and work with coaches and things like that, because I get people where I've laid out all the terms and I'm like, hey, this is the contract. This is what I do. This is what I don't do. And then they're upset with me when the content comes and they're like, well, you didn't expand on, I don't know, a topic that I know nothing about. And I'm like, well,
that's not what
I
do.
can't. That's technically, you would be hiring a copywriter to then spend the time to research whatever. And even then it might not align with your view as the business owner, right? So it's difficult to get people to understand that, because they are just looking to fill that job. They just want you to do everything because they don't like it.
Yeah.
And I get it. I have things in my role as a business owner that I don't like, but finding the experts for each thing is really where you're going to find the value.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm just going to agree, because like, I mean, it makes sense. So it's like, wow. Do you ever run into those really difficult clients? Have you ever had to fire one?
Oh, yes. I have had to fire a couple. It does not get easier. And I'm a people pleaser. So I'm like, I'll just morph into whatever you want me to. Then I'm like halfway through mental breakdown. And my therapist and or business coach is like, actually, no. Like, why are you doing this? Yes, I have. And it was very difficult.
And it's part of business ownership, right? Like,
Correct.
I think people think, I'm just going to run a business. It's going to be great. But then you have to do these things. And it's
yes.
like,
And I think sometimes like it's this competition almost between service providers versus like product-based businesses. Like, oh, well, you don't have to like sell the product. Like, what if we don't sell products? We're not going to make money. I'm like, yeah, but services run out. People outgrow your services. People come in with the expectation. So for me, a conversation I get a lot is like, I want to make sales. And they want to say to me, okay, so how many sales will you make me? And I'm like, if you're talking and you're vetting a social media or even a marketing company, to be honest with you, and they tell you how many sales you're going to get, you need to run, because
Absolutely.
it's not marketing and sales are completely different things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then it even breaks down further in marketing. I am organic. I am building the foundation of your brand online. So no paid ads, nothing like that. When you get to the paid ads level, now you could look at those conversions and be like, okay, how many people, we put this ad out. My team made the ad. Now the ad person's running it. What was the conversion? How many appointments did we get? How many sales? Whatever. I'm building the foundation. So I always start off my conversations saying, I do not tell you how many followers you're going to get, and I do not tell you if you're going to get any sales. And it took me forever to get comfortable saying that.
Right.
At first, I would just be like, okay, well, yeah, like we'll try to do that. And then I would get frustrated with myself because I'm like, why is it not performing? But then I was like, it's not even my job. Like, if you look at bigger companies with bigger budgets, no one is calling the social media girl in to understand why the new Nike Air Maxes are not selling. like, if you really think about that, like, there's just no way. Like, maybe they're calling the marketing team in to be like, let's think of new ideas.
Yeah.
But no one is calling her like, hey, like those sales were not good last month. And she's like, I didn't even know, like, I don't even have access to that information.
How is that my fault? Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. So, I mean, it's a team effort, but when you get these smaller teams, it's easy to blame the marketing team. It's easy to be like, well, that content just wasn't good. And it's like, well, of course not. Everything's changing. Everything is changing every day with social media. So if you're not changing,
quicker than you.
Yeah. But also, I'm sorry, when they click the website, what did it look like? Because my touch point is social media. So if they got on the page and they viewed it, I did my job, right?
Absolutely.
If there's about 9-10 other steps to even make a sale, what did the website look like? Who did they talk to? What was their tone? Maybe they made it to your cart and some shipping was expensive. Like, there's so many different levels to that experience. And so it's very important in like my integrity to tell people, like, I will not make you sales. I will not.
That's good.
That's e-commerce's problem.
Yeah. Like, there's just so many different layers. And the clients that I do have the most difficult time with are the ones that are focused on the sales, are focused on the follower account.
Yeah. Like
correct. And then the question is like, if I'm the expert, did you do what I asked of you? Right? If I said, you're the founder, I need you to show up on social media, and you have not sent me one video, but now you're saying we're not growing, you didn't hold up your end of the bargain for me to see if my strategy actually worked.
Correct.
And so that's another struggle I get, because then it's still my fault. But they didn't actually do what the expert said, and so they end up and go to a different company, whatever. But it really is a conversation of like, and you guys can speak on this in recruiting, like, you are outsourcing someone.
Mm-hmm.
If they are the expert, if they are the graphic designer and you don't have graphic design experience, let's trust them and let's see what they're saying and try it out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I always tell them, just at least talk to them.
Yeah.
Just like
one chance.
That's all I'm asking.
You already told me everything you're looking at. I wouldn't put somebody in front of you if we didn't know.
Look at that.
That's
resume.
the purpose of it.
Yeah. So as we're, wrapping up, and again, we thank you so much.
What's
so
next?
Recruiting is our bread and butter. That's what touring consulting does. So what are some do's and don'ts for people out there on the job market? They are trying to create their personal brand, either on LinkedIn or IG or whatever.
Yeah.
Some tips or,
I love that question.
I was like, that's still favorite.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because you think about social media, like, it really got big when I was in high school, college. And I remember, like, everyone was like, don't post anything on social media. Like, people are looking and they're going to judge you. Like, and
Absolutely.
So now when you think about it, there's influencers applying for jobs and their employers are looking at that content. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also being self-aware of the brand that you are building.
Correct.
And even if you're like, well, I'm just going to make my LinkedIn buttoned up, and then over here on Instagram, it's going to be a little different. Like, people are looking everywhere. Like it is so easy to type a name into Google and find everything that you've posted. So I would say first being aware of, no matter what the platform is, being aware of how it represents you online. And I would also take inventory on like your self values. I think it's easy for business owners to be like, okay, these are my company's values, but all of us have personal values and those values show up in an interview for sure. And so it's like, if you're going to have those conversations and then the employer is going to leave and they're going to go look up your social media and it's like completely different, that's probably a red flag. So ensure that the values you are saying that you have align on your personal brand, which is social media. And I want to clarify, like, every single person has a personal brand. If you have a social media account and you're not a business owner or influencer, you still have a personal brand because you're posting about your personal interests, about your family, about your work. Like it is all online and it's how you interact online. Like we all have those people that like post on Instagram and Facebook and you're like, what are you doing? Like, right? Like that's giving you a persona that maybe you do or do not want. And so being very clear with when you create content or make posts, like how is someone else viewing you, not only from a professional standpoint, but like everyday people. And then depending on your career, like I think we were kind of talking about graphic design, like if you have a graphic design page for fun and you're kind of trying to apply for jobs, I don't think it's a bad idea to share that with where you're going because maybe it's not necessarily their direction, but it is essentially a portfolio. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of different jobs that like we could almost have a portfolio through social media, but people think social media is negative and they're like, my employer doesn't want to see that. But it's like, why not? I mean, even in, for instance, interviews when I'm talking to clients, I always tell them that I have a podcast. And it's like, because that shows off a different side of me and my business and they can go listen to it and learn about me. And so I think if you do have the social online presence, even in a way that's not necessarily relevant, obviously if it's appropriate for an interview, saying it and allowing the employers to like go look at what you've created can be an asset and set you apart from other people that are interviewing for those jobs.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah. Actually, it's really good advice because, I mean, even in recruiting, we still have to, like educate our candidates of like, look, like, can you just like go private for a while?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, or just keep all that over there kind of thing. Or
And that's a great point. Like use those settings. Like if
they're there for you.
If you have something that you really want to share, like make multiple accounts, have one that's like, and
it's like but they don't sometimes.
No, and that's a deeper issue that I feel like maybe a therapist could come on and chat about. But like, there's good privacy settings for a reason. And even then things happen. So you just have to be careful.
Absolutely. Well, you guys heard it here first from Kassidy.
I'm laughing because I am thinking of somebody that could probably use your service. Like, don't do that. Yeah, thanks.
I could probably make a lot of money actually if I tapped into some of your clientele.
Absolutely.
And be like, hey, let 100%. Me help you revamp your social before we go into this interview.
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
I'm like,
yeah, we could collab.
You know what our saying is, do you want a job or not? Thank you, and we shall see you guys soon. Thanks for joining us on the Bullpen hosted by TCG. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who can benefit from it. Hit that subscribe button, and until next time, do you want a job or not?